Hey guys, Robbie here from CrossFit South Bend. Today I'm here with Marlo, who is just about to finish her 6 months of one-on-one nutrition coaching. So Marlo, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
So first thing I want to talk about is Marlo's progress. So we have her most recent in-body scan here. Marlo basically, since her first scan, has lost about 35 pounds, which is crazy. It's amazing. Her muscle mass has basically stayed the same at 61 pounds, and then she dropped 12.5% body fat. And in addition to that, she lost 5.5 inches off her waist and 3.5 inches off her hip. So congratulations, Marlo.
Thank you.
Fantastic job. So tell us a bit about what food and health and life was like for you before you started the program. What made you interested in this? What were you eating before this? Tell us what life was like during that time.
During that time, prior to doing all of this, I spent a lot of time trying to eat healthy, but not having the correct information to be able to do that. So I think I was doing a lot of the things that people think are healthy. But then when you really get drilled down into whatever the ingredients were or how it was prepared and things, it's really not. So a lot of yogurts and in the mornings and things like that, and salads, but there was always the more frequent cheat days than not. And it was I had a really stressful day, so it's okay for me to have a couple of cookies or that won't hurt anything. So I think a lot of people fall into that where we're trying, but we don't have the knowledge base to really see the results that we want to have.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the journey. You've been doing this for about 5 months at this point. Tell us about transitioning to real whole food and then the Whole30. Tell us what your journey's been like.
Well, when I started nutrition coaching, I think we started officially in June, so it was a couple of months of me prepping myself and prepping my kitchen to be prepared to have the tools in place necessary to succeed. I cleaned out my kitchen probably way before I needed to, just because I knew I wouldn't be able to dive in just like eating what I was eating and then suddenly the very next day not eating that stuff. So it was a couple of months of prep work, and then honestly I had a serious talk with myself the night before I was officially going to start because I wanted to succeed. So I made sure that I was ready to go, and so that talk with myself was about, it's 30 days. You can do this for 30 days, but then the journey itself has, it was tough at times. Different social occasions, a lot of families, mine is no different with the rewards for food and family dinners, always having 2 or 3 desserts to choose from and things like that. So it was definitely a up and down sort of thing. In the beginning, lots of energy. I felt that initial rush of being able, the positive results. And then when I started to see the results and not just feel them, that kind of pushed my motivation to another level to continue.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and just for context, guys, like Marlo voluntarily decided after doing her first Whole30 to do a second month, which has just been that takes tremendous willpower. And it's been a huge boon in terms of like how much progress you've made. So we talked a lot about, scale victories and percent body fat, and, you've lost a ton of weight, and you said before we started filming that you need to get a whole new wardrobe, essentially.
Yes. I'm in the process of purchasing a whole new wardrobe.
So tell us a bit about the non-scale victories. So you were mentioning the energy before, things like recovery from workouts, mood, cravings. Tell us about other things that improved in your life.
The biggest piece for me is my overall mood and affect. I at times have to push myself through bouts of depression. I am not one to take medication, so I don't take medication for that. And over the course of the last several months, I have felt my overall mood, my stress level, and all the things that I would battle to do certain things in my life has gotten much easier. And that I think is, for me, one of the most positive outcomes of this whole thing, is because I knew at times I just didn't want to do things, and I would push through that, and I would do them, but I wouldn't necessarily enjoy them as much as I could, and now it's like, I'm the one who's calling my friends to be like, hey, let's go do something, or that sort of thing, and so I am overjoyed with that feeling.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. So one of the main points of our program is like, does someone feel like after the program's done, they can do it long term? Do they feel like they can make it a sustainable thing? Having done this, how do you feel this will be in terms of making this a lifelong baseline that you can refer back to and make the foundation of your healthy eating?
I feel much stronger since doing the second month.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off of the first 30 days, I felt confident, and I felt that I was much more educated than I had been, but I still felt like I was still battling a lot of the cravings and feeling weak at times, not as strong as I wanted to be coming out of the first 30 days. So that was my big push for doing the second 30 days. Now I do feel much more confident that I will be able to sustain this for longer periods of time. I don't foresee myself ever not falling off the wagon when it comes to certain things.
Right.
But I do feel much more confident being able to sustain, and if necessary, come back to it if I've fallen off the wagon too far, that I will be able to pull myself back, because just having that knowledge base now is so key to the success.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So last question is, if you could talk to Marlo 6 months ago, or to, someone who might be in your situation today who's, unsure whether they could eat this way, or, has similar work obligations and things like that, what would you say to someone who's thinking about taking the plunge but isn't quite sure in hindsight?
Well, first I would be honest and say it is a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But two, it is not insurmountable. Having your assistance was super beneficial. Being able to tap into your knowledge base and the questions that were asked. So I would just drill it down to, you can do it. Do it. Avail yourself to the opportunity to improve your health, because yes, it's a challenge, but in hindsight, it wasn't something that was it wasn't terrible. It was a challenge, but it was not terrible. And if folks are, I don't know if I want to say as lucky as me, but I felt like I was seeing results fairly quickly, which helped keep that momentum going. So do it. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and I just have to say, from my end as a coach, like, you've been one of the most disciplined people I've ever worked with, and like, you've done a fantastic job of just sticking with things for your goals, and I'm super proud of the progress you've made, and I think you've done an excellent job.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's Marlo's story. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.